All right, people, we're back. Episode number 17 now, and it is a very, 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 very exciting time for NBA fans because tomorrow, recording on Sunday night, tomorrow, Monday at I think 11 Eastern time is when training camp starts, and next Sunday is when the preseason officially starts. And I'm about to be tapped in as hell. How hyped are y'all for the season, bro?
I'm ready. I think first preseason game. I think we got Nets versus Lakers.
Yeah.
I think next Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, we get that next Sunday?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean,
my thing is, I'm never hyped about preseason, bro, because they don't even play the players.
I mean, I think we're gonna
at least be positive.
I think we're gonna see like the best Lakers guys and the best Nets guys for like the first half, and they're gonna be going at half speed or whatever. Well, now here's a big question: where is that game at? Is it in Brooklyn? Or is it in LA?
That's a good question.
It's in LA.
I don't know for sure.
It's in LA.
Or if it's at a neutral site, because I don't see Kyrie Irving getting fully vaccinated by next Sunday. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm hyped for it. I think we'll be able to get some solid action. I think we're always going to see something in that first half, and that second half is when they just decide to sit them, or maybe they'll play them the whole game. Maybe those first few preseason games, I remember seeing guys get a bunch of time or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hyped as hell for it. We all know with the preseason, ESPN decides to do something very, very controversial that pisses off half of the NBA universe every year, and that is they release their top 100 rankings. I'm going to name these 10 off, and I want you guys, any issue you see within the top 10 or anything you guys want to point out and talk about, let's go with it. So we're going from 1 to 10 here, and just stop me if there's something here that you just didn't agree with, okay? Number one ranked player by ESPN, Kevin Durant. Any contention to that? None?
Nah,
I figured Carl would have something to say about
it. I admit it. I think Kevin Durant at this point is far better than LeBron. I admit it.
Then we go Giannis at 2. Are we good on that, or are we still on? Do you think it was a little premature? Do you think the Giannis thing is still a little premature? I think I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think it is, because I don't want to be the person that be like certain people got hurt, because that plays a factor in every finals when you win. But it's just like,
yeah.
On second, he's no.
So let me ask you this.
He ain't better than Steph.
I was about to ask you that. So if Giannis isn't 2, who do you think should be 2? You think it's Steph?
Yeah, probably Steph. I don't even think. Because he'd probably be better than Luka, but I like watching Luka's game better. But you can put him above Luka, obviously. But yeah, I think Curry at least probably need to be second or third on that list, and he's 5th.
To your point about Curry and Luka was 4, Curry was 5. I had an issue with that, and y'all, I think all of us in this chat are major Luka fans. But him over Curry, because Curry's coming off of. You can argue this was Curry's best season last season. You can honestly make that argument. I mean, you could. I mean, as far as from an individual standpoint. Yeah. You can make that argument, and this is a guy we look at as the second best point guard of all time. I think everybody in this chat agrees Curry's second best point guard ever, right?
Mm-hmm. First.
Yeah. And to have Luka over Steph Curry after Curry's coming off of arguably his best season didn't sit well with me. I'm a Luka fan, but I'm not sure about him being so high on the list. But there was also a conversation that I've been having for a long time. Actually I think I got into a conversation with a couple of my friends about this. Luka Doncic and James Harden in those comparisons. Why? What's your justification? I think Blake made a tweet about it. Didn't you make a tweet about Luka and James Harden?
I said Luka was better than James. Was better than Harden.
Explain to the people why you think that, because those are comparisons that a lot of people that's a major comparison, because some people say Luka does the same stuff Harden does. Harden just does it better. What's your justification behind taking Luka over James Harden as a player right now?
To be honest, I think like all around, in my opinion, Luka is better. Also in terms of just making people around him better. You see, like the kind of offense that Harden runs, how he ran it back in Houston. How that little about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dribbles, let everybody stay in the corner and let him do.
It was more than 5.
It was about 10 or 15. Wait till the shot clock to get down to about 5 and then shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I think I never liked that. I never liked that at all. That's why I said just like offensively, Luka's probably better than him, and playmaking wise.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's close as hell. I mean, you could say it for my only argument with it. If I were to make an argument for Luka, I think James Harden's one of the 5 best shooting guards of all time, and I think he's one of the 8 best offensive players ever played this game. I think with Luka right now, it's the youth combined with, I don't know, what is it about Luka that makes him better? I think I agree with you right now. I think he makes his teammates a little bit better. I like the rebounding. I think he's got more defensive upside. It's tough though because I think they're just two very similar. They're so similar.
He's consistent. That's another one. Luka's consistent. I think
James consistent too.
Yeah, James is very consistent.
I'm not playoff wise.
Yeah, and that's another point.
That's really where I kind of separate them. Because I mean, you looking at this past season, how Luka he didn't have any help, but I feel like if you switch Luka and Harden, Luka would be going much further with that Rockets team, I think.
Are we talking from? I don't know about that. I mean, because I don't know, because I think a lot of the issue with the Rockets, I think if you would have put Luka in that Rocket system, when you talking about when they went small and they ended up losing in the bubble like the second round, I think if you would have put Luka in that system,
before that.
I think they would have been bounced anyway, just because of the system that they were in. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Blake talking about when they faced the Warriors with Chris Paul. Yeah. That's probably what he and they missed like 30.
Yeah, that's
they missed like 25 threes in a row.
Yeah.
Like,
but
27 threes.
But that's
27, that's 28.
But that's a major if. And was Luka in the league at that time? Or was he?
Was 17, 18. Was that 18, 19?
That was probably 17. I don't think Luka, that's a major if. That's my thing. I think
that was 18. Yeah, that was 18, 19, I think.
Oh, he was a rookie.
Yeah. No, that was 17, 18. Oh, right.
Okay, yeah, he wasn't in there. If it was 17, 18.
Yeah, to me, that's a major if. I don't know. I think I'm a big fan of Luka. It's hard finding, and that's a debate a lot of people have had. It's hard finding the justifications for why Luka's better. I think maybe you can go off of health. I think that's what you can go off of because Luka was there, available for the entirety of the season, and James wasn't. But at full health, I just think, and Luka's got that takeover thing as well, but Harden's takeover is just on an absolutely another level. And I don't know if I can compare Luka's playoff success to Harden's. When I love Luka, and we have more hope about what he's going to be able to do in the playoffs in the future, but he's been first round in his entire career, So
yeah, I would probably say the things that separate Luka and James Harden, like Blake said, it's the playoffs for me, and it's the fact that I don't like watching when people play basketball when they try to initiate so much contact instead of just playing basketball. Mm-hmm. That frustrates me. Yeah. Like, bro, he still tries when he goes into the lane. He still does this.
Yeah.
Stop. Just play basketball.
But it works for him.
That shit is so annoying, bro.
It works for him.
Carl, you sound like somebody dead, man.
Man, that's annoying, bro. That's annoying.
Is it a preference thing? Is that what it is? Because I think saying definitively Luka's better than Harden is it's almost. I know a lot of people are saying it right now, but it's almost kind of extreme.
It's
a preference thing for you.
It's definitely a preference.
Yeah,
it's definitely a preference because like we can't point out the reason him being that much better than him. We just like.
Okay, I think that's what it is. Because I'm like I don't know if I can say because they're there.
I think for me it's a little bit of both, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I think once we get like a further down the line in his career, we'll probably have a more clear.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I think a lot of people are basing the ranking off of, or the comparison off of, is Luka's upside. I'm saying I think the list is like right now. I think Luka all the time when it's said and done is going to be a better player than Harden. That's not an easy feat at all. Harden is, as I said, a top 5 shooting guard to ever play this game. But if we're gonna, make our comparisons based off of, we're going to make our comparisons based solely off of, upside. I don't think that's fair if we're making like a current, top 10 list or anything like that. So that's my only thing on it. So
I don't know, but you got to think of this too. Like James Harden be looking out of shape sometimes, and he still be putting up 30 like it ain't nothing. Yeah. I've never seen a dude gain weight and fluctuate like his plus minus is great on and off the floor.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a dude that like looks out of shape but still looks the same as far as scoring.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Harden. Harden will just get out there he's such a once in a lifetime talent. Like we give him a lot of flack for not being able to get into the playoffs or not get into the playoffs, not being able to contribute when it matters the most, like in the fourth quarter. Like if you look at Harden's playoff numbers, they all check out. He's like 28 plus probably, but it's those fourth quarter numbers that get people. But if we just talk about his talent, it's the same thing with Kyrie. Kyrie's not top 10 on this list. But if we take every narrative out, if we take injuries out, the talent of those two guys, those are probably the two most talented offensive players in the game right now. You know what I mean? They don't have KD's and LeBron's size and all of that. So that, I think
But the thing is with them dudes, it's like the most talented offensively, and they're not really that big, or their defense isn't that great. For some reason, they're always the players that get hurt a lot, if that makes sense.
That's true. Harden, Kyrie.
Like Kevin Durant is an offensive player, but he's been hurt a lot too.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's definitely a weird thing. But I think the only, to your point, Carl, about the injuries, I think the main separating thing between Luka and Harden would also this probably be the point that maybe Harden is more of a third or second option right now in Brooklyn compared to Luka being the first. You know what I'm saying? And I think I'm trying to find as much as possible, but definitively him being a better player, I think it's tough because you look at what Harden was able to do over his career in Houston, it's just tough to throw him off. And the only thing you can say right now is, and maybe some of this coming from the point that he quit on Houston, maybe some of that's coming. There's always a narrative thing,
That boy ate his way out of it.
Yeah. There's always, but question, was he actually fat though? Because I think he was putting something under his clothes.
Hey, I ain't gonna count that out completely because right when he went to the Nets, he looked slimmer. And that was like 5 days.
It may have been the camera angle they was using.
No, bro. He was fat or he put something in his jersey and stuff.
But them camera angles take like a camera snap. Like I don't know if y'all saw that picture of KD's like foot when it was like his shoe was off. But it was
like a sandwich.
But so they're gonna take them. They're gonna take them little crazy shots. Harden's in shape for sure, but I think that was the most to me. And I put a post up about it on Snapchat to get people talking. About who's better between Luka and James Harden. And it's just an interesting comparison because their games are similar. They're used in a very similar way. And we'll see this season how Luka, we're going to talk about it a little more, but we'll see this season how Luka's using the Jason Kidd offense, and we'll see how similar it's going to look compared to last season. So
yeah, like you said, we really can't pinpoint why one is better than the other. Yeah. I think it's simply like just who you like watching play. Like I like watching Luka play more because he doesn't always try to initiate fouls. That's my reason.
Yeah. Luka does some stuff that pisses me off though. Luka does.
Okay, yeah, he does, but part of my reason I'm kind of still mad at James for not being the Warriors when I hate him. It's back.
Y'all like that. Y'all like that old fundamental basketball. Y'all don't like those chest passes, huh? Them behind the back dribbles and
that is fundamental. Fundamental is a chest.
Y'all just want the basics.
There was also on this list. Was there anything else? So Curry was 5, Jokic is 6, Embiid is 4, or Embiid is 7. Damian Lillard was 8, and AD was 9, and Harden was 10. So besides Harden,
where was LeBron?
LeBron was 3. LeBron was 8.
I don't like that.
So where's LeBron at, Blake? Let him. Yeah, where's LeBron at?
So you had list. You had KD,
Giannis. Yeah.
KD, Giannis, LeBron, and then Luka, and then Curry.
Yep. I think the 5 looked pretty good. I think outside of Luka and Curry, I think the 5 looked pretty good.
I take Steph over LeBron.
You can make that argument. You can make that argument right now.
Yeah, sure. I'll take Steph over LeBron, but I won't take Luka over him. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Well,
nah.
I would. Honestly, bro, I know Giannis just won a championship, but it's just like just because a player wins a championship. No, I'm just saying just because a player wins a championship don't mean he's necessarily better than the next dude. That's what I think.
Like, what you call it then, Carl?
He's not better. He's just not better than Steph, bro.
I can see that. But then here's a very interesting thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it seems like every NBA championship over the last 5 years, whoever won is the next best player in the league. Remember, Kawhi won it in Toronto. And I'm a big fan of Kawhi's game, but they're saying he's the best in the NBA and he took LeBron's throne and all of that. And remember, even when he moved to the Clippers, he was the king of LA, and then after that, I mean, even talk about the Warriors matchups with the Cavs, right? KD was better than LeBron James or whatever, you know what I mean? And then back, obviously, with this championship, Giannis, if the Suns would have won it, we would have been saying Devin Booker is probably better than Luka Doncic or better than Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Because, bro, it's just like, you can't tell me player to player, Giannis, even though they didn't rank him one, is better than Kevin Durant. He's just not.
Yeah.
Like, he's not.
Yeah. I mean, and you can make, I think Curry's way more skilled. I mean, you can make arguments for him being like number, I think he's number 2 right now, just based off of his impact. And you also look at his numbers, they're just ridiculous. And the point that he was able to find a way, I just appreciate Giannis's ability to find a way to still dominate and do what he needs to do. Because, I mean, like I said, there wasn't much growth in his offensive attack from the season before last season and now this season. It's almost the same thing. Maybe progressively he's gotten somewhat better as a 3-point shooter, but for him he finds his spots at a very high pace and he just knows how to impact the game by finding his strengths. And that's why I'm a really big fan of Giannis. So I mean,
I get that, because it's the respectable part of it, like you were saying, is basically he found another way but still played the same.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Credit that sounds kind of contradictory.
Yeah. Credit to the head coach and for putting him in the right spots as well too. But I
mean, they did do what I said do. Remember, I said they just put him in the paint.
They did
bring the ball up.
Yeah, put him at the 4. Put him at the 4 and let him play off the ball.
GM call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't play for me though. I'll cut you the next day.
Yeah. I think other than there were a lot. It wasn't anything that was clear. And ESPN's done some clearly bad stuff as far as rankings before. Like we've seen some stuff we're like, what the hell? Like there was the Kobe ranking, I think like his second to last season where he was like in the 90s. And then there was, and I didn't go, I'm not going to lie, I didn't look at every 100. So there may be some stuff out there that's pissing me off or whatever that I just don't know about just yet. But surprisingly, this 10 doesn't look horrible. Like maybe the Anthony Davis at 9 didn't bother me as much as it would have like last season or whatever, so.
Yeah.
Were y'all cool with AD at 5?
It's one of the best they've had in like 2 or 3 years, probably.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think AD being at 9 is more so it's recent seasons. It's not necessarily meaning the player is better than them because like Anthony Davis is definitely more talented than Giannis. But look what Giannis did.
Right. Yeah,
it's about the previous season because I'm not putting Joel personally over Dame. I would or Jokic, but Jokic was the MVP, so you can't keep just bumping them down like that.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
And Jokic was at 6, by the way.
Yeah, I was cool with. I think they look pretty good. I mean, there's the Jokic and Embiid debate too, which I'm always entertained. I think they got it right by putting Jokic over him. You just kind of have to. All in all, looked pretty decent. I wasn't too pissed off about it, and I'm not a big fan of ESPN because anybody who considers Kobe not top 10 all time is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing in all.
That's a hater.
That's the dumbest take in all of sports to me is if it's Kobe not being top 10. Like I don't even like when he's not listed in people's top 5. So
top 3.
Well, let me ask you all this. Who do you think? Like, do you think LeBron can reclaim his throne, as they say?
No.
It's too late now. It's too late. I mean,
he's old. He's old.
But he can win a ring this year. Like, it's not impossible to win a ring.
My thing is, he's not going to average like 27 points. I see him at the most average 25 this year.
Yeah. It's all y'all people talking about, they guaranteed to win a ring. They gonna do this. They gonna do that. Now I can't wait to see y'all faces, Carl included, when they lose in the second or third round. I'm gonna throw a party. I'm gonna throw a party, and all y'all invited.
Second round.
We'll let Blake's predictions kind of breathe for himself because he's made a couple of. But I got to kind of wait for everything to happen to see what happens.
I'm gonna just say this: Blake been praying on LeBron downfall since 2008.
Yeah,
you see, he don't want to see nobody threaten his boy Mike. That's all it is. I'm gonna just tell y'all.
Mike's legacy is, there's nothing LeBron. That's actually no. LeBron's legacy can challenge Mike. They're just the circumstances. Yes, it can, bro.
It's too late for that now.
No, it's not. With the It's about circumstances. So with LeBron's circumstances compared to Mike's, you can make an argument that his career is almost as good as, if not better than his. You can make an argument. Not saying it is, but you can make an argument.
It's too many blemishes.
But my thing is, especially if you look at his stats, like he's top 15 in assists, he's top 10 in rebounds, and then he might be number one scorer all time. I get Michael Jordan played like a short amount of time, but he also took more shots, like 2,000 more field goals. I got that stat in my head.
You forget LeBron is a Hall of Fame stat pattern, so
he's not, bro.
I mean, but who isn't? But that's my thing. Like, who isn't a stat pattern? Like, you play the game.
I hate that stat pattern stuff. I think stat pattern is like the worst. That's like,
bro, because you play the game to get the best stats you can while winning the game.
Nobody stat padding. That when people say stat pad, I know Blake's joking right now, but when people legitimately think,
no, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Okay.
You agreed with me before. You agreed with me before. One of you all agreed with me. Yes, when I said he was stat padding. One of you all, I know one of you all agreed with me when I said he was stat padding.
Was it a game?
Yes, it was. Well, it was. I think it was over a season because one of y'all said I think he's stat padding now.
Okay, stat padding in a game is different than being a stat pattern. Nobody in it is no superstar is a serial stat pattern. I mean, is there any? I'm trying to think.
It's not because I get what Blake's saying because people like you can be up by 7 and you clearly go win, but you want to stay in because you want to get.
I mean, you have to. I mean, you see them get mad. Like, let's say Harden's at like 9 rebounds and somebody steals his like 10th or whatever. They get hella mad. So, yeah,
that's a crybaby attitude right there.
But you may as well give him the rebound if he's like 1 away from a triple-double, though. But, yeah, no, I don't think anybody – and no superstar is a serial stat pad. I think most – I don't think that's like – yeah, all in all, the tune about LeBron is going to change if he ends up passing the scoring record. Then people are going to start coming back around and saying he's the best of all time. Trust and believe.
Crown him.
Yeah, trust and believe. If he breaks that scoring record, people are going to start saying that again.
Now,
if he doesn't.
It hurts me to say this, but him getting all that damn talent on the team kind of ruined my argument.
I don't think it did, dude. I don't think it did.
That's a lot of damn talent.
Dude, I've said this for years, bro. Why do you need all that? Now I can understand when you was going against Golden State, but why do you need all that talent?
It's just the direction. But I mean, LeBron on the built team thing, like when he's on these super teams or whatever you want to call them, it's a reflection of the time that he's in. We're living in the era of the 2 or 3 or 4 all-stars on one team. So,
but I mean, you got LeBron super fans and all the LeBron Justice Coalition. They're the main ones.
Wait, say it again.
The LeBron Justice Coalition.
We're making that a T-shirt. When we start doing merch, we're making that.
You should. Yeah. Now they the main ones that get mad about super team stuff when they little boy, he the one that created it. So he made it mainstream.
No, he did.
The Celtics.
Yes, he did.
The Celtics.
I don't know about that. I don't. That's a good.
But we've seen teams have a lot of big names on paper before. Like obviously Chuck wasn't what he was, but the Rockets, when they had Chuck, on paper that was a super team or the Lakers.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't as like as it is now.
That's true. But back to my point, LeBron having multiple like superstar and multiple all-star players on his team is a reflection of the time that he's in. That just is what it is. So that's why. Yeah. That's why we can't compare the teams he had to the teams Jordan had, because I mean, obviously Jordan, like I said, at that time, that just wasn't a major thing in the NBA.
Yeah. People either stayed on the same team or they got traded. In free agency, the way they went to a different team is they got traded. They didn't go into free agency. They didn't just
no type of choices.
No, you didn't. No. Player leverage these days is off the chain. Rightfully so. I'm kind of happy about it. Sometimes,
yeah.
Sometimes it gets annoying.
It's just funny, like the kind of deals they were signing back.
Yeah, like if you get 10 rebounds a game, we'll give you a Twizzler on top of the guaranteed contract. But yeah, all in all, man, solid list. I'm not mad at it. I think ESPN did a pretty good job considering how screwed up they've been over the last couple of years at this. So, yeah. Let's get into our team previews. What team do you guys want to start with right now?
Mavericks.
Let's go Mavs.
We can do the Mavericks.
head coaching change, bringing in Jason Kidd, and obviously that's been one of the more controversial head coaching moves in the offseason, losing Rick Carlisle, and there was the entire thing about him and Luka not being super compatible. Now you've got Kidd. And I mean, how optimistic or how do you guys feel about having Kidd on the team? Because I never looked at it as this transcendent move. You know, I think a lot of people get caught up in the point that Kidd, you know, was this superstar level player and is one of the best point guards in the history of the game. But at the same time, as a coach, it hasn't really played out that he's this really, really super high level, high impact coach. You know what I mean? And also, like, I think it may be a little different here because now he has a chance to. He's never had a superstar point guard under his wing, you know, and he has that. Yeah. You know, and granted, he did kind of breed Giannis into being the player that he is now, but there just isn't enough on his coaching resume, you know, for I think Mavs fans are a little bit torn on it. So how much do you think the addition of Jason Kidd to the coaching staff, how much do you think that helps this team, you know, going into this coming season?
I think it can only help Luka's situation because it is Jason Kidd and he is like a top 5, arguably a top 5 point guard all the time. So he definitely can help maybe Luka take that next step and maybe even just involving his teammates more, even though he already does it. But pacing himself when he's like struggling and getting tired, like we've seen it because we've seen it in playoffs with the Clippers where he just exerts so much energy scoring through the first 3, he doesn't have anything left in the fourth. So maybe he can give him that like veteran mindset to teach him, hey, you need to score like maybe just 10 points this quarter, 10 points in the next, kind of rest and save your energy for the fourth. So I think, like you said, it was a small sample size with the Bucks because his record was literally like 500 with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So it was just like, is he really going to help them that much? But I think he is.
Well, I mean, look at the team he had in Milwaukee, though. It wasn't the.
Yeah, it was okay.
And they had, I mean, they did. I could be completely wrong, but I think that was the first time we started seeing them kind of get back into the playoffs with Giannis as their most notable player. You know, I'll give them some credit. It wasn't anything super convincing. It wasn't anything like, oh, Kidd is going to be this game changer. It wasn't like that. But I think, you know, he showed some promise. And I do think, as Carl mentioned, you know, you mentioned this a lot actually during that Clippers series, you know, Luka needing to pace himself a little bit better. Like I said, maybe Kidd can help with that, you know, having a guy who's one of the best point guards to ever play this game, you know, be kind of his mentor, you know. So I'm a big fan of it. I mean, you look at this team as a whole. I mean, how much do you think there's going to be a change from last season to this? Or let me ask you this. What are our expectations at this point for the Mavs? Because I think we're kind of past this point to where we're cool with them, you know, kind of being a first round and out team because Luka's still young and all of that. Are your expectations for this team to try to make something different happen? Maybe go deeper in the Western Conference or whatever? Or like, how much of your expectations for this Mavericks team elevated?
Yeah. I want them, honestly, I want to see them take the next step of making, if it's possible, to make the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to see from them. Now, I know the seeding will have to work out. They would probably have to be 2 or whatever to avoid the Lakers, which can't happen because they have the talent for it. But it's really solely about Porzingis at least giving them 20-plus points a game, at least 23. Because Luka's been doing everything, bro. Like, that's why he gets tired. So we need Tim Hardaway and basically Porzingis to show up at key time. Yeah,
that's very true. And I mean, all the talk this summer was about them needing a second option to go along with Luka, and they never really got it. You know, there were some minimal additions that were made, but you know, there was the Goran Dragic thing that just never really happened, which I was pissed about because I really wanted to see that trio, you know, become a thing. But you know, like I said, they have the internal talent to have a great second option. It's a matter of Porzingis finally getting into it and finding himself. And maybe that change of scenery, not much of a change of scenery, but the change in coaching and the change in how he's going to be used, you know, could help a lot. You know, maybe we see him get a lot more touches in that mid-range area. You know, maybe we see a little bit more than him just being used in pick and pop situations or whatever. You know, it's also going to be about his health too. I think he averaged 20 last season, but it wasn't what it needed to be for them in the playoffs. It wasn't an impressive. He wasn't
healthy either. He played like spurts.
He was not healthy.
Yeah, and Kristaps, he hasn't taken that step that we knew that we wanted. We saw the flashes of him being potentially becoming one of the best power forwards in the NBA in New York, and it just hasn't really come together, here in Dallas. So hopefully the changing with the coaching and all of that can help him. I think a lot of it came down to how he was being used, and so now you're, new head coach, new system, and all of that. No disrespect to Rick Carlisle at all, because you have to give him credit for the offensive system that he was able to bring to that team. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, by some metric a couple years ago, they were like the best offensive team of all time. So you have to give him credit for that. But I think Kidd, one benefit he can bring to Mavs fans is just the hope that we're going to see, Kristaps Porzingis being used a little bit differently from a systematic standpoint. There was also another solid addition, and I mean, defensively, I don't know how much that's been talk about this Mavericks team is there with their defense, but picking up Reggie Bullock, he was probably the best perimeter defender for a New York Knicks team that was arguably the best defensive team in the NBA. So it gives him another guy who can stretch the floor and knock down shots, another primary defender. Sometimes I feel like there were some matchup issues in that series against the Clippers. Luka was on some people he shouldn't have been on, and all of that. And that was taking away some of his energy offensively. So, it gives him another defensive stopper and all of that. So I think that was a really solid, cheap, pickup. But all in all, I think, how would you guys rate, or Blake, how would you rate their offseason given that they made the coaching change, and they made those minimal changes, bringing in Moses Brown, who they ended up getting, and bringing in, Reggie Bullock and all of that. But but there never was that major additional, second perimeter go-to shot creator for Luka. They extended, Tim Hardaway Jr. How would you grade their offseason based off of kind of the minimal changes that they made? Like, do you think how would you look at it, and do you think it puts them over the top with anything in the Western Conference?
I don't. You get to try something new with Jason Kidd, but it's kind of like, okay, that's really the only big thing. You needed another scorer. Mm-hmm. I still think it's crazy that we always talk about, they need a second scorer, and Porzingis is still there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild saying that when you've got someone that's almost 7'3".
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just we expected so much out of him coming to New York, and we've been disappointed. Like he's averaged like near 20. He's averaged 19, and 20. But he's definitely a 25 points per game type of talent. And we're disappointed. So that's why we're saying he needs a second score. Because he doesn't look like, from what they're asking him to do, he doesn't look like he can be that person unless they try to change up the system for him.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, you see he was really the only one in New York that was really doing something. So maybe that's where those stats would come from.
But that goes to Tyler's point. That kind of mixes with Bradley Beal about like, dudes scoring a lot of points on teams that are just so-so, but then when they go to a championship playoff team, they're not as consistent.
So is Luka, so I got to ask the question, or not Luka, is Porzingis a guy do we think he can be a second best player on a championship level team?
I do.
I don't know.
I do. He's just got to be, one thing he can't do is shoot the ball so much. He can't do that. He has to drive. You're 7'3". You have to drive to the basket. You coming down on
diversify your game.
Dude, yes, you coming down on fast breaks, and you over here pulling up. What are you doing?
Yeah,
bro. When it was in the playoffs, when he pulled up that three and Blake got so mad, he pulled up.
Dude, that was so stupid. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you're tall. You're taller than literally everyone in that building. You pulling up from three on a fast break? That's dumb, bro.
Okay,
it was stupid.
That's funny. I forgot about that because he sure did do that, and I think that may have been like like I said, he was very frustrated in how he was used. So to Carl's point, I think it's all about system. If we don't see him, I think he needs to average 22 or more this season. Now, that's what he should be putting up if he's healthy. That point blank period. No ifs, ands, or buts. He should be 22 or more for this season. And if he doesn't, I'm going to question him as a player a little bit more. I haven't totally questioned him as a player now because I just think it's all system right now and injuries. But if he isn't able to put up 22 or more under a new head coach and all of that, then I'm the way I think about him is completely different than what I anticipated from him when he was in New York and all of that.
That's the confusing part, like, of this about the NBA in general. You see dudes on just so-so or bad teams average like 25, but sometimes even 30. But then they go to championship teams and they aren't they aren't the same player because some people aren't comfortable in certain systems.
Yep.
That's what I think. Like, if that's partially the reason I think Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave. He's in Jordan scoring 30 points a game. I think. Because I think if he went to another team, I don't see him averaging 30. I just can't. No.
I mean, no, because he's not gonna.
That's what I'm saying. But because the system's not going to allow him. First of all, too, because most likely he's going to go to a team with another All-Star if he wants to leave. But yeah,
I don't know. I think he's more competitive than that. I don't think he's just enjoying just losing.
There's also major financial incentive for him to stay there too. I think he's eligible for like one of the biggest contracts ever.
50 million. I would say too.
That's enough. That's enough for me.
Hey, I'll stay. I don't care how boring Washington is. You pay me 50 million.
You pay me that much money. I'll stay there.
Hey, I help build Washington.
Well, I made a good point. I forgot what I was going to say about it. But yeah, I think with Porzingis, it to me, it's almost like a do or die season from him. We've only seen him be an all-star once in his career, and I don't even think he played in a damn game. So it's all it's. So
is he really an all-star?
Yeah. So
he might as well scratch his name off and just say go on.
So I think it was like 20. I forgot what year it was, but we have to like we all said, it has to be a really big year from him. Where he's putting up his numbers and he's confident. And, like I said, I think a lot of his issues were also just disappointment. So, this reset and all of that could mean a lot for him. I mean, and people were questioning his trade value. Before the Simmons conversations, people were having the Porzingis conversations. Remember, we were talking about trading Porzingis and he's on this large contract. And people were saying, well, he depleted his value totally, and they decided to hang on to him and, use a new system to see what they've got. So big year for him. If he doesn't end up doing what he needs to do, then Dallas is going to want to trade him. And we could see a similar thing to Ben Simmons. Now, it's not going to be on the same level as Simmons, but it can be a similar thing with a guy who's kind of depleted his value. He's on a super, super large contract. So, we'll see what happens, bro. But I think I think this Mavs team will be solid. But I don't know if I want it. I think they need to look to get past the second round. I just don't know if they made the additions to do it unless you're just trusting, your internal talent that you just retained. If you're trusting those guys take a step up, and we've seen that happen before. We've seen teams just keep the guys they currently have, make a head coaching change, and that puts them over the top. Or we've seen teams just trust the development of their second or third best players and then just make something happen. So maybe that can happen with them. Maybe Hardaway gets more consistent. Maybe Porzingis, as we all mentioned, turns it up a little bit more, but hopefully it's going to have to happen for them to be able to noise.
I was smiling because I was waiting to see how long it was going to take for us to bring up Ben Simmons again.
Oh man, did we? Oh,
it was like 36 minutes. I was timing it.
Okay,
36.
Ben Simmons report.
Keep doing that. Matter of fact, don't even do that. But keep doing that for every episode moving forward. That's hella funny because I didn't even notice how much you said that dude's name.
The Ben Simmons
it's hard, bro,
report,
because like every time we post a meme at night or like during the middle of the day, I try my best not to post a Ben Simmons, but that's all that's on Instagram is Ben Simmons memes.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, hopefully the Mavs make something happen. Next topic, next team. Next topic I want to talk about. Do y'all think Ben Simmons can shoot? I'm playing. So next topic is
oh hell no.
Next topic.
That boy couldn't put a ball in the stove if he was in the kitchen. He can't even do that.
All right, so I need to stop talking about Ben so much. Next team we had the Warriors. Man, I'm excited to see this team play. I know Clay is not going to be back until Christmas, but this is a very, very deep team, and I don't think that's something they get credit for, not only just this season, but over the last couple of years. I mean, Carl even talked about it on an episode before. This team has always kept a lot of depth on their roster. And this season, we're seeing there's a nice ratio of older guys to young talent. We talk about Kuminga, and Moses Moody, being additions to this team. They showed a lot of great. You said what?
The bucket.
Oh, Lord. But, we saw what they did in the preseason or in the summer league. And with Kuminga, there were some questions about his efficiency and all of that. But he's a young guy. I think he's a guy who can come in his first year, make a big impact defensively. I think we could see him play some minutes at the 4, possibly get in some pick and roll scenarios, with Curry and all of that, and be able to make plays out of the pick and roll like we see a Golden State big men do a lot of times. Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, all of those dudes. We saw a little bit with Andrew Bogut. With Moses Moody's, another guy can be a great 3-and-D player. There was also the addition of Otto Porter Jr., which a lot of people don't talk about. He's a guy who, there was hype for him when he was in Washington, and then, he went to the team he went to, and then nothing ended up happening out of it. And granted, he was hurt a little bit, but another great 3-and-D dude to bring off of that bench. He may not average double figures, but he brings some level of experience. He's been in the playoffs before, and a guy who can knock down shots off the catch. That's another solid pickup. Another dude they just got last week, Avery Bradley, another good two-way player, can play make, can defend, and can knock down shots if he's given the time. So this team is deep. Not only do they have Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson coming back at some point in time, but they made some very solid decisions. Iguodala's there too. Jeez.
My only thing I'm worried about, and it's really not the team, this is with Wiseman talent. Like, I feel like I don't know if his talent is going to evolve being on that team with so much talent. Like, bro, they got Moses Moody, they got Kuminga, young talent. I feel like they're going to shield.
He'll evolve.
But I just be starting them. Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying I feel like they might shield the talent like the Suns shield Aiden, because I feel like Aiden should average more points than he does.
It's a good point because Aiden. Wow, that's a good point because Aiden, a lot of his game. He did his thing in the playoffs, but a lot of the stuff that we know he can do, he just wasn't really doing it. He was using a pick and roll player a lot more. And he still showed flashes, but somebody made a point that I think the Warriors are going to try to mimic what the Suns did with Aiden, where you're still going to allow him to show off those flashes of being a great face-up player and all of that, but at the same time, get him in a lot of pick-and-roll scenarios and just integrate him into the offensive scheme that we know from Golden State. Because they even did it last season, right? Steve Kerr's offensive system has always been what it's been, but we were still putting James Wiseman into positions to where he can stretch the floor and knock down shots. You can face up, and all of that. And I think they did a solid job of integrating him in there. And obviously there was a level of maturity. There was a level of maturity we wanted to see from him. And there was some growth that he just never had to, or had the ability to achieve because of the injury and everything. But with a full season, he's not going to put up the numbers he'd put up if he was in like Sacramento or wherever else. But he's going to be a very, very effective piece for him. And I think there will be opportunities, for him to kind of show off his full offensive bag or somewhat of his offensive bag. So,
yeah. My only thing with his improvement, I just want to see him get stronger in terms of his hands and catching the ball. Because I feel like he's kind of, when like a pass comes to him in the post, he kind of loses all the time. Yeah. Somebody steals it from him.
Yeah.
So he just needs to get stronger.
Yeah, stronger. It's a lot of stuff is just young players.
That's rookie things though. That's like.
Yeah. And like I said, even if we don't see that immediate progression next season, I'm still I'm going to be patient with Wiseman up to like his third or fourth year, because like I said, when you got a guy, he couldn't even finish college, he only
played, I think, 2 games.
2 games in college. And his rookie season, where there's a lot of stuff we know he needs to develop at being a better switch defender, as Carl mentioned, his hands, some of his, just his maturity and his IQ or whatever. We didn't get to see him play an entire season. So that development is still going to be a little hindered. So I'm going to be patient with Wiseman for about 2 to 3 years now, but I think he's going to have a great year. I think he's getting a little bit more and more used to playing with those guys or whatever. Because it could be tough for a rookie to go into that type of environment his first year. It could be tough for sure.
That's true, because we didn't view Aiden how we view him until the playoff run when he played that good. Because we were thinking, true. Okay, he was a third. What was he, third pick? Am I right?
First pick.
He was the first pick.
He was the first pick, and we were like, are he putting up first pick numbers? Maybe it's the offense, maybe because the Suns might suck or whatever. But we saw once the playoffs came around, he was performing at the level of first pick should.
Yep. Very true. Very true.
I said third. I don't know who I said third.
Yeah. Who Bagley was third that year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Luka was
That's who I got to make them with. This is a question. I just thought of this question. Would you I know you all would like to see it. What's the odds of this series going like 7 games? Mavs versus Warriors.
What's the odds of it going 7? Healthy Warriors. We're talking Warriors at full health.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say
that's a 5 game. That's a gentleman's sweep.
I go 5-6 because I think
that's a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I think the Mavs are going to have a very tough time defending that team, and who knows what they have in store for the season. But I think they're having a tough time defending it. To be honest with you,
we're gonna put up 45 a game.
Yeah, 45.
You can win.
Put a 45 and lose.
Yeah, or 45 the first three quarters, and you know everything falls to shit in like the last. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of this Warriors team and how they build everything up, and I mean their GMing is amazing. Like their combination of how they were able to bring in vets and also how they drafted and how they've taken advantage of those draft, you know, assets and all of that. It's been amazing. You know, like post Kevin Durant, we can say they haven't made the playoffs the last 2 seasons or whatever, but how they've kind of played the long game. I'm not gonna say they played the long game because they didn't plan on doing it, but how they've taken advantage of their situation of being underwhelming and all of that while being able to go out there and get a number 2 pick in James Wiseman, or being able to get those 2 great lottery picks in Kuminga and Moody, and also, you know, being able to wait and get a Klay Thompson back and getting those vets like Bradley and Iguodala. It's amazing, and they're going to be back in a great spot next season. So
I compare them to like the Heat when LeBron left the Heat and then waited to return. It took the Heat a little bit longer for it. It took them like 3 to 4 years to like regain steam and just become a top level team. Yeah. But they just signed free agents, got a couple of veteran trades in, drafted some players. Look, boom.
15, 16, they was back in the. LeBron left after the 13-14 season.
Yeah. And so
they was fine.
Took them 3 years to come get back.
Very true. Then they did kind of have like a ragtag group of guys too. Like it was a bunch of random names in there, but no, they definitely made it work. And I agree. You know, that bounce back right after KD was gone. I mean, like I said, that first season they intended to. Well, I can't say they intended to try to be a good team because Klay was out, but like I said, all it came down to was them taking advantage of their situation and what they had. Like, you know, for them to, you know, Curry was out that entire year. Like, okay, let's just tank the rest of the season and say to hell with it, and let's go try to get a James Wiseman. So by the time Klay is back, you know, we've got a great environment for him, and we got some, you know, nice young legs or whatever. Because not every day a championship team has a lottery pick. That's not every day. This team has legitimately 3 lottery picks who have a lot of stuff to show, you know, on their roster. So I'm a big fan of this Warriors team for sure this season. I think they're going to do a lot of great things.
I'll probably say championship teams that only had lottery picks. I got to go back with the Celtics and Lakers in the 80s. That's the only times. Teams like that.
The Pistons had
Darko.
Pistons had Darko.
Yeah. But they ain't turned.
Okay, what worse?
Should have had Melo.
What worse if they had Melo? Oh my God, bro.
What worse than finals teams that had lottery picks? I'm gonna throw myself thinking about it. We'll probably be
like you said. It's the Pistons. It was the
it's not the
Lakers.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. That many.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it.
There probably are more out there. We'll let the viewers correct us on that because I feel like there are a lot of names we're going to miss. But I'm excited to see this Warriors team play. Blake, what do you think the upside on this Warriors team is with everything they've been able to do? Because I got it. First of all, I got to give them an A+ offseason. So
I do too. I think I had been saying that they were really the only team that could probably challenge the Lakers in that West since. Yeah, a lot of those other teams are still dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
So this opens up the door for them to kind of continue where they left off about 2 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a B- because they let Kent Bazemore go and they let us get.
Oh my gosh!
I give it an A+.
They let the GOAT go. They let the GOAT go. That's gonna be the difference. Watch him be the difference between the Lakers and the like if they get into a series.
That would be hilarious.
Watch it come down to a Kent Bazemore shot. I would laugh my ass off.
He gonna give y'all an incredible 3 points a game.
Hey, if it's some Robert Horry 3 points. Hey.
Yeah.
This is a couple of free throws and that's it.
Yeah, solid stuff we saw from Golden State. And I think it puts Curry back into another great position to have another amazing year. You know, I think a lot of people were kind of trying to do the Steph Curry's. Remember last season, everybody was saying before last season, what was everybody saying about Curry? He ain't got no Kevin.
Can't carry a team.
Can't carry a team, and he ain't going. Then he ends up going out and having. It was one of the best, silence the critics type of seasons we've seen. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs, but it was an inspirational, high level, elite season from one of the best point guards to ever play this game. You know, so. But that's one storyline a lot of people forgot about was the criticism Curry got before the season and how he just shut all of it up, you know, by the end of the season. So Golden State's in great shape, man. I'm excited to see what they're able to do. I think they can make a West Finals run. And I think if they play the Lakers, there are just some flaws the Lakers are going to have next season. You know, I think the Lakers are.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Warriors in the finals next year.
Me neither. Not at all. Not at all.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
I would.
You would be?
They ain't beating us. We going to the finals, bro.
Oh my God!
Brian go get his ring.
Y'all,
he ain't getting nothing. He ain't getting nothing.
Y'all are the best team, I would say, but there are still flaws you guys have, and I think if there's a team that can see those flaws and take advantage of it, Golden State could be that team to do that. You know what I mean? So
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm eating popcorn to that series though. I mean that playing game last season, that playing game between them was off the chain. So yeah.
No, tell the people at home what the reason the Warriors lost the playoff game. They might not know.
Y'all might not remember. O'Brien hit a little shot from the right wing, right? Was it the right wing?
Blake was.
No one
cares.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Literally nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. No one cares at all. That's a lucky shot. And if it didn't go in, y'all would have been saying, "Oh, why did he take that shot?" So
I don't think I would have, because
he had to. He
had to take it. That's a good.
He didn't have to. He wanted to.
Well, I think he had to, given the shot clock situation. Now there's another team we're going to talk about, and I want Blake to kind of go in a little bit on them because this is allegedly is his team. But the Hawks, and another team that had a very solid offseason, especially with their 2 draft picks with Jalen Johnson and Sharif Cooper. So talk a little bit about Atlanta and what your expectations for them this coming season are.
Well, last season was kind of a bit of a surprise. I said this before, but I don't think they expect to get that far.
No.
I think the addition of Jalen Johnson, another big wings, about 6'9", shoot, drive, pass a little bit, rebound. He was great at Duke for the little time that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
You bring back everybody. You re-sign Lou Williams, another veteran presence, hometown guy. I'm really looking for Atlanta to make another run. You get a full season with I'm drawing blank. What's his name?
Nate McMillan.
Nate McMillan, yeah. You get a full season with Nate McMillan, full off season with Nate McMillan, and you get that full off season prepare and all that. Now, I want to see what they can do, and I genuinely believe that they can make I don't know about another conference finals run, but I'd say. Well, you never know. I'd say at least a semis run, but I think they could make a conference finals run. They could.
Yeah,
I think they can.
And with talking about their ceiling, I think to me it's not about them having to go back and make a conference finals run like you said, but I think it's just that I think they now have a team that's going to be in a playoff team for a couple of years.
They're a definite problem now.
They're a legitimate force in the Eastern Conference, and how they're able to flip that script. You talk about Nate McMillan for a little bit. I mean, just we talk about all the time. A head coach comes in and everything just changes for the better. He comes in, we were ready to write this team off and all of that. We were talking about their allegedly chemistry issues between Trae Young and John Collins. Nate McMillan comes in. Defensively, they become a much better team and all of that. We saw them put that on full display in that first round against New York. And now they are what they are. So to me, it's about this team being now going from rebuild mode to being a consistent playoff team over the next 4 or 5 years. And we'll see what they're able to pick up to go along with the talent they already have, So yeah, I think they're going to be pretty solid next year. At least they've started to build something that we know is going to be consistently fun to watch. So
yeah. I'm just going to be looking for, like Blake said, I think Jalen Johnson is going to be great for them. I was watching it. Sharif Cooper, obviously, as well, because he had a buzzer beater in summer league. That was but Jalen Johnson, bro, I didn't know he had hops like that. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like a 40-inch vertical type stuff. But what I'm going to be looking for the most is like seeing Trae Young take that next step in terms of efficiency, because he still takes some questions. It got better, obviously, his shot selection, but he still takes some questionable shots. Like, he's not like efficient like Steph from that deep 3 range, but he still continues to take, some dumbass shots. I'm trying to be nice about it, but I don't think I think Blake. You can say I think they can make the East Conference Finals. I think so.
I don't think so.
Because you got to keep in mind, we didn't think the Bucks was going to win the finals, and stuff happened.
And now look at them.
So. I think when I make my predictions, I'm making them off of a perfect world. I think that's what I think. So I think when I'm making I think
I got it, but like it's nothing perfect. Like I really think we want to see the Nets and the Lakers face off, but something's going to happen.
Good point. I'm not
confident. Yeah, I mean, injuries happen. You can't.
That's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's a good point because I agree. I'm not confident. I want to see. Lord knows I want to see it, but I'm not confident we're going to see Nets Lakers finals. I wouldn't put money on it.
I want to see Russ versus KD. Yes,
that'd be fun as hell. Too bad that beef is soured down though a little bit.
Yeah,
good for them, but bad for
the people.
Yeah.
Bad for the people.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson. I mean, not even the summer league performance that he put on, but even the offseason stuff. We're seeing him all over the place on Swish cultures and all of that. He's in these pro runs with these proven NBA stars, when he's getting it in. He's going to be an amazing piece off the bench for them. You talk about the defense, you talk about his ability to pass and the rebounding and the finishing around the lane. He's going to be an amazing athlete to bring off that bench. And we'll see if he's able to, somewhat solidify himself as a shooter for this season. But I don't know how confident I am with that. But, he's a Swiss Army knife, as we always talk about these guys, can do multiple things to help, the team for the better. And who knows, he can kind of place, that. I'm not saying the same role, but he can be like an Onyeka Okongwu type of thing where he meant a lot for that team in the postseason. Remember what he did when he came in the game, making shots out the pick and roll, rebounding, tipping in, just playing big minutes. Jalen Johnson can definitely be that player. And
defensively too.
Defensively, big time. He can guard multiple. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5 almost, in today's league. Yeah. So he's going to be a beast. And you talk about, there's also another solid pickup they made as far as backup point guards go, picking up DeLon Wright. His numbers last season were great. Even if we're not talking about bringing Sharif Cooper off the bench as a second string point guard, DeLon Wright is a proven somewhat NBA vet. His percentages and his splits last season were pretty damn good. And I think he can be a guy to come in the game and take a little bit of pressure off of Trae Young, where Chris Dunn wasn't. I mean, their true backup point guard last year was Lou Will, and he's not a true point guard. Now you kind of have a dude who can, give you some versatility off the bench. You can interchange him and Lou Williams in some lineups or whatever. But I think they got a lot of great stuff, great pieces on this team. So
bro, they can seriously go 10 deep. Like seriously.
Yeah, they can.
Easily. In the playoffs too, like easily if they wanted to.
Yeah, they definitely can. And they paid Trae Young too this offseason, which was big. Good move. He got a bag. He got a serious Ice Trae.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then also too, like even Cam Reddish, like what if he builds off of what he was able to do in the playoffs? We saw flash
play him.
Yeah, and they definitely will, because I think we'll see, because we've seen.
I can think that you got Trae,
DeAndre Hunter,
Daniil, DeAndre Hunter,
Danilo,
Gallinari, Capella, DeLon Wright, Kevin Hunter,
Johnson,
Jalen Johnson,
There's a lot there, and so
that's about 11, 12 guys.
There's a possibility he falls out of the roster, which they wouldn't be a far away from doing it, because it's not like he's getting paid a bunch of money right now, but I don't think it will. I think he showed too much great stuff in the postseason. When Trae was out, like I said, we saw the flashes of shot creating. We saw what he can be defensively. He almost like a coming out party, and it was kind of like a yes moment. Like when we saw Cam Reddish do what he did in the postseason, it was like finally, because we've been wanting to see it from him for such a long time. I feel like he's been not pigeonholed, because he did struggle on his own in Atlanta, but I feel like people haven't been able to grasp the type of talent that he is. And so when we saw those moments from him in the playoffs last year, it was a sign of great things to come in the future. So hopefully he's a guy who can make a big step. And as I think one of y'all mentioned, DeAndre Hunter being back now, they missed him. They missed him in the playoffs, and he was amazing last season as like a two-way player and as a shooter and everything.
He really surprised me, bro. I didn't see that coming, because we used to play against we went to Virginia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he played Virginia.
We used to play against UNC. I was like, I ain't worried about him.
Yeah.
And you went to the league.
I didn't see it at Virginia.
Yeah. I didn't think he was there. I thought people were overhyping him in college, but then we're seeing what he is now. Maybe he's not the player they projected him to be, but he's found a way to find a niche for himself, and he's been effective. And he's been great in that role that he's in currently. So I'm excited, bro. I think all three teams we talk about today, I'm really excited to see play. Versus like the first couple of team previews, there are a couple we were like, I don't really care about these dudes. But these three that we talked about today, they're going to be very, very fun to watch. Atlanta's in a great spot. Blake mentioned they're now an entire season under Nate McMillan, which is super, super good for them. I'm more than excited to see what Jalen Johnson is able to do. And back to Jalen Johnson, like he was a guy, there was obviously the situation at Duke where he just left and there were a bunch of narratives about him. But you talk about just talent. He's a top 10, top 5 talent in this class, pure talent, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He can, if he like develops a jumper, bro, it's like inevitable. Like what he did.
Yeah, man. He as a rotation piece, he's going to be scary.
How tall is he? 6'10"?
What is he?
6'9".
6'9", 6'10"?
6'9".
Yeah. We got a team, bro. They have a really good team. Like I said, yeah. In a perfect world, I don't think Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm glad they built something post the Mike Budenholzer and Jeff Teague and Al Horford thing. I'm glad they built something, to where we can we know they're going to consistently be, in the playoffs, and they've built a core that we know is effective. There are some cores that teams that we still have some questions about, right? Obviously, there were questions about the Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons thing, and we see how that's turning out right now. So we know their core is, what it is, and we're more confident in it than anything else. So they're in really, really good shape. And shout out to the GM, and that's been done on the side for ATL. So bro.
I would just tell people at home, if you quit something, because Jalen Johnson was assuming quitting.
Oh my God.
He would, they accused him of quitting, but I didn't really see him that way. Quitting is what the Ohio State player did.
That was hilarious.
That boy quit.
You all need to go. If you all have time, just look up Ohio State player quitting, and like the fallout is hilarious. You'll laugh.
Blake, were you watching that game live, or did you just see it on social?
No, I was watching. I think I was watching the Oklahoma game, and then I flipped over to it and was talking about it. Then I went on Twitter and I saw what dude did.
He said
that was
I think it's safe to say he might not play for that team.
No, he's done.
Oh no, they said he ain't playing no more.
He probably wanted to transfer because he probably didn't start. I don't know. He probably didn't.
He wasn't getting enough clock. Ohio State is kind of. I don't know if we got any college fans over here, but Ohio State is not good.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State. They're not that good.
Whenever I gotta do research projects sometimes at work, and whenever
Clemson not that good.
Yeah, whenever I look up Ohio State,
Clemson is horrible, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, whenever I look up Ohio State, I have to type in the Ohio State to get the right result. It's like the dumbest thing.
If you type in Ohio State, you just go get Ohio.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what? Yeah. That's what we've got for y'all, man. We got to give another call to action here. Please subscribe on YouTube. We're in really good shape. We're at almost at 140. We're one away from 140, which is like our December goal. So we're on track with that. Keep sharing, keep watching, follow us on socials, download on Spotify and Apple, all that. Carl, were you going to say something?
Follow us on Instagram. I'll be honest, y'all helped us out a little bit. We did a little bit better.
Twitter too.
Yeah, Twitter, of course, but definitely Instagram. You've been listening. It warms my heart to see you all listen.
Warms my heart.
Warms my heart.
Yes, sir. I'm excited, man.
I'm calling it now. Bama, Georgia, national championship. Calling that.
Talk about it.
I'm calling that.
We'll see what happens with it, man. I've been watching a lot of football this year. I'm kind of happy for myself. So. Man. We got for you guys. Training camp tomorrow. Tune into that. If you got NBA TV, whatever, tune into that. And we will see y'all next episode.